Welcome to our deep dive into the fascinating history of the Catholic Church. Have you ever wondered how a small sect of persecuted followers became the dominant force in medieval Europe and later in the whole world? Today, we will explore this epic journey that begins with the crucifixion of Jesus and traverses the tumultuous days of ancient Rome to reach the unparalleled power of the Catholic Church. Prepare to discover how Christians faced and overcame relentless persecution, how the conversion of an emperor transformed the fate of the religion, and how the Church shaped the Europe we know today. Stay with us to uncover the secrets of how Christianity triumphed and consolidated into a global powerhouse. But before we dive into this story, if you, like me, are a fan of history and especially interested in the history of the Roman Empire, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the upcoming videos, give us a like, and leave a comment about which topic you'd like to see in the next videos. Let's get started. After the crucifixion of Jesus, his followers were gradually recognized as a distinct religious group and began to face persecution from the Roman authorities. The early persecutions, however, were sporadic and usually local. In a polytheistic society, Romans tolerated many different religions, as long as their practitioners acknowledged the Roman pantheon and, above all, made sacrifices to the emperor as a demonstration of political loyalty. However, Christians refused to participate in these rituals, which put them in direct conflict with the Roman authorities, especially as their numbers increased. The Apostle Peter, one of the most prominent figures among the early Christians, was an emblematic victim of these early persecutions. He is traditionally identified as the first bishop of Rome, and his death during Nero's reign in the mid-1st century marked a turning point for the burgeoning Christian faith. Peter's crucifixion, traditionally said to have been upside down, illustrates both the cruelty of Roman executions and the steadfastness of Christians in their faith. Persecutions in the early days of Christianity varied in intensity over the centuries. The economic, military, and political crisis of the Roman Empire in the 3rd century exacerbated suspicions toward Christianity. Christians were accused of atheism for not worshipping the Roman gods, and thus many blamed them for the calamities befalling the empire. The catacombs of Rome and other major cities of the empire became refuges for Christians. In these underground galleries, Christians not only sheltered from persecution but also conducted funerary and worship rituals, keeping alive the hope of resurrection and the community of faith. These catacombs served as symbols of resistance and resilience, as well as safe meeting places where Christianity could continue to thrive, even in times of repression. Despite attempts to suppress Christianity, the religion continued to grow and expand. This was partly due to its message of equality and hope of salvation, which was appealing to the marginalized masses of the Roman Empire, including slaves, women, and the poor. Christianity offered a new spiritual and communal perspective, contrasting with the rigid and impersonal hierarchy of Roman society. The role of the apostles and early missionaries was crucial to the growth of Christianity. They were able to establish Christian communities in several important cities of the empire, such as Antioch, Corinth, Rome, and Alexandria, which became vital centers for spreading the new faith. These communities functioned as support networks, welcoming Christian travelers and facilitating the dissemination of Jesus' teachings. The martyrdom of Christians, far from destroying the faith, gave it an even more attractive character. Martyrs were seen as witnesses to their faith, willing to suffer and die for their beliefs. The courageous death of many Christians inspired their contemporaries, making Christianity seen as a religion of great spiritual power. The testimony of these martyrs was widely circulated, creating a powerful mythology that strengthened the faith and attracted new followers. Moreover, Christianity distinguished itself from other religions of the time by its organization. The emerging hierarchy, with bishops, presbyters, and deacons, helped coordinate missionary efforts and ensure doctrinal cohesion. Even under persecution, Christians were able to maintain a robust network of communication and solidarity among the various communities spread across the vast imperial territory. Over time, Christianity began to transcend its origins as a marginal and clandestine religious movement, consolidating as a dominant force within the Roman Empire. The consolidation of Christianity was facilitated by its ability to absorb local cultural elements, reinterpreting them within the Christian framework. Instead of completely rejecting Roman traditions, Christianity adapted certain aspects of paganism, which helped to accelerate its acceptance. After the conversion of Emperor Constantine in the early 4th century, Christianity began to enjoy a new position of privilege. Constantine not only legalized Christianity with the Edict of Milan, but also began to grant favors and patronage to the Church. He built monumental churches and conferred upon the Church an official status of authority, helping to integrate it deeply into the structures of the state. In the Middle Ages, the Catholic Church became the principal institution of power in Europe. With the fragmentation of the Roman Empire, the Church stood out as the only unifying force. The Pope, successor to St. Peter, assumed a role not only spiritual but also political, negotiating with kings and emperors and influencing decisions of great political relevance. The Church, besides being a channel for spreading the faith, also became an administrator of lands, a promoter of education, and an arbitrator of disputes. Christianity was used as an effective tool for social control. The fear of hell and the promise of a heavenly reward helped to keep populations obedient, not only to the Church but also to civil authorities. The imposition of Christian morality, associated with the theological view of a world in transition between sin and redemption, consolidated the Church's presence in people's daily lives. Among the apostles, Peter and Paul were the most important figures in expanding Christianity beyond the borders of Judea. Peter, the first bishop of Rome, played a central role in the foundation of the Church. His authority was symbolically passed to the bishops who succeeded him, culminating in the figure of the Pope. Papal authority derived directly from Peter, and this was crucial for the legitimacy of the Roman Church amid growing tensions with other Christian communities. Paul, on the other hand, was the great apostle to the Gentiles. His vision of Christianity was more inclusive, allowing the faith to expand among non-Jews. He traveled throughout much of the empire, establishing Christian communities in places like Antioch, Corinth, and Ephesus. His correspondence with these communities, many of which became fundamental texts of the New Testament, shaped Christian theology and ethics. Paul was instrumental in transforming Christianity into a universal religion, detached from Jewish practices and traditions, allowing it to spread rapidly across the Greco-Roman world. The first Christian communities emerged in the major cities of the empire, each with its specific characteristics. Jerusalem was the birthplace of Christianity, while Antioch was the place where followers of Jesus were first called Christians. Alexandria became an intellectual center of Christian theology, combining elements of Hellenistic philosophy with Christianity, and Byzantium, future Constantinople, would become one of the main centers of Eastern Christendom. Rome, however, assumed a special position. The Christian community in Rome was formed by Jewish diaspora and later converted Gentiles. After the destruction of the Temple in Jerusalem in 70 AD, Rome consolidated as the most influential center of Christianity in the West. The presence of the apostles Peter and Paul, and the fact that both were martyred in the city, gave the Roman community a spiritual authority that other cities did not possess. The model of episcopal leadership, which developed in these communities, allowed the Church to maintain cohesion and unity. Each major city had its own bishop, and these bishops began to meet in regional councils to discuss doctrinal issues and ecclesiastical practices. Over time, the Bishop of Rome, as Peter's successor, was seen as the highest authority in the West, while in the East, the Patriarch of Constantinople assumed a similar role. Nero was responsible for initiating the first major state persecution against Christians, something that would become a pattern during times of crisis in the Roman Empire. The accusation that Christians had caused the Great Fire of Rome in 64 AD was a convenient pretext to divert attention from the internal problems of his government. The persecutions he orchestrated were especially brutal, and their impact was felt for decades, creating an atmosphere of fear and suffering. The narrative of Christian martyrdom under Nero strengthened the Christian community. Martyrs were seen as saints and supreme examples of faith. Their testimonies inspired many to convert, and the stories of their sacrifices became an integral part of Christian tradition, read and revered by generations. Despite the intense persecutions under Nero and other subsequent emperors, Christianity continued to thrive and expand. The destruction of the Temple of Jerusalem in 70 AD did not mean the end of the Christian presence in Jerusalem, but marked a significant shift in the religion's center of gravity to other parts of the Roman Empire. The Christian community in Rome, now the most important, found ways to rebuild and prosper. The Christians' resistance to oppression, their ability to organize, and the spiritual strength that faith provided were crucial to their survival. Local communities, even under intense repression, managed to maintain their practices and cohesion, ensuring the continuity of the religion. Paul's letters and other writings from the early generations of Christians helped reinforce the identity and unity of the communities, providing theological and practical guidance in times of difficulty. Christian leadership, with figures like the church fathers and bishops of major communities, played a crucial role in preserving and spreading the faith. These leaders, often sacrificing their lives for the cause, helped keep the Christian faith alive and promote the growth of the church. Even in the face of persecutions, communication and support networks among Christian communities helped create a resilience that sustained the religion's growth. Persecution of Christianity did not cease with Nero. In the early 4th century, Emperor Diocletian launched a series of intense campaigns against Christians, becoming the last and fiercest of the major persecutions of the Roman Empire. The so-called Diocletian Edict of 303 AD ordered the destruction of Christian scriptures and the demolition of churches, as well as requiring Christians to make sacrifices to the Roman gods, under penalty of imprisonment and torture. Diocletian's persecution was motivated by his attempt to restore order and stability in an empire facing severe internal difficulties. However, the repressive measures failed to eradicate Christianity, which, on the contrary, continued to grow, partly due to the strengthening of underground networks and the resilience of the faithful. The Christian Church used these difficulties to strengthen its organization and resources. Ecclesiastical leadership further consolidated, creating a solid hierarchical structure that helped the church withstand pressure. The organization of Christians into well-structured communities and the practice of a resilient faith allowed the religion to remain alive and influential, even under severe repression. The turning point for Christianity occurred with the conversion of Emperor Constantine, the first Roman emperor to adopt the Christian faith. Constantine's conversion was partly influenced by a vision he claimed to have before the Battle of the Milvian Bridge in 312 AD, in which he saw a luminous cross and heard the message in Hoc Signo Vinces. In this sign, you will conquer. Winning the battle and attributing his victory to divine intervention, Constantine decided to support Christianity. The proclamation of the Edict of Milan in 311 AD, co-signed by Constantine and Licinius, was a milestone in Christian history. The edict legalized the practice of Christianity and granted religious freedom to all cults within the empire. This legalization provided the church with official status and allowed Christians to build churches and conduct their practices openly, without the constant fear of persecution. If you found it fascinating how Christianity overcame immense challenges and established itself as a dominant force in medieval Europe, give the video a like. Your support is essential for us to continue exploring and sharing these intriguing stories from our history. Constantine also promoted the convening of ecumenical councils to address theological issues and organize Christian doctrine. The First Council of Nicaea in 325 AD, convened by Constantine, was a crucial event that helped define Christian orthodoxy and establish Christian doctrine, including the formulation of the Nicene Creed. This council also decided on which books would be considered part of the New Testament, consolidating the Christian Bible and officially defining the sacred texts of the religion. The need to standardize doctrine and sacred texts led to the convening of several important councils and synods. These meetings were essential in establishing the theological and doctrinal foundation of the Catholic Church. The councils helped resolve disputes over theological issues and define the Bible canon, ensuring a common basis for the Christian faith throughout the empire. The Council of Nicaea was the first and most important of these events, establishing the Nicene Creed and addressing the nature of the Trinity and the divinity of Christ. The decision on biblical texts was also crucial. Over the following centuries, other councils and synods continued to address theological issues and define Christian orthodoxy, forming the basis for the Catholic doctrine that persists to this day. The fall of the Western Roman Empire in 476 AD did not result in the end of Christianity, but in a significant transformation in how the religion influenced society. With the disintegration of the empire, the Catholic Church became the only organized and stable institution in Europe. It played a vital role in preserving culture and education during a period of instability. The barbarian kingdoms that emerged after the fall of Rome were largely converted to Christianity. The conversion of barbarian leaders, such as Clovis, king of the Franks, helped solidify the Church's influence in Europe. These leaders, by adopting Christianity, established an alliance with the Church that helped consolidate the power of the religion and promote a new social order. The Catholic Church became the central force in shaping the new European societies, offering a moral and organizational structure that helped mold the kingdoms that emerged after the fall of the Roman Empire. The Church's mission was not only spiritual but also political and cultural, contributing to the creation of a new European order based on Christian faith. During the Middle Ages, the Catholic Church exerted significant control over European society. It not only directed individual spiritual lives, but was also a major force in administration and social organization. The Church helped establish laws and norms that regulated daily life, and its influence extended to all areas of public life. The Church's role as a social organizer was particularly evident in the way it helped shape the institutions of medieval Europe. The Church organized education, founded universities and schools, and promoted literacy. It also played an important role in social assistance, caring for the poor and sick and providing help in times of crisis. Additionally, the Church established a clear hierarchy and administrative structure that allowed for the maintenance of order and stability during a time of great change. The Pope, as the spiritual leader, had authority over bishops and clergy, and the Church's influence extended across the European continent. The rise of Christianity from a persecuted sect to a dominant force in medieval Europe is a story of resilience, organization, and adaptation. The Catholic Church, from its humble origins, managed to establish itself as the leading institution of medieval Europe, shaping politics, culture, and society for centuries. The Christian faith survived and thrived despite persecutions and challenges, playing a crucial role in the formation of medieval Europe and the social organization of the new kingdoms that emerged after the fall of the Roman Empire. So, did you enjoy our journey through the rise of Christianity and the Catholic Church? If you like this historical journey and want to see more content like this, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Your subscription is crucial for us to keep bringing these detailed and fascinating videos about history. And we want to hear from you. Leave a comment below with your thoughts on the rise of Christianity or share what else you would like to see in future videos. Also, click on the screen to watch the next video we've prepared for you about Pontius Pilate. the man who sentenced Jesus Christ to die on the cross. Check it out.